Hello and welcome to On the Bench Extra, where only football matters here on Estuary TV. Joining Hardy and myself this week is Grimsby Town's flying winger Scott Neilson. Coming up on the show, we will be discussing how our local sides have been doing, Tuesday's Lincolnshire derby between Grimsby and Lincoln, plus the England captaincy and their forthcoming Euro 2016 qualifier in Switzerland. As usual, you can find us on social media. Details are on your screen now where you can find us. So welcome to the show, Scott.
Nice to meet you.
Let's start by talking about your own personal form then. 4 goals in 3 games. Got to be tough for that.
Yeah, definitely frustrating start really, being suspended for the first 3. Keeping fitness up and then got straight in and off to a flyer. Yeah,
I've got a couple of questions on Twitter for you, Scott, from some fans.
Yeah.
Daniel says, are we now seeing the best of Scott Neilson or is there more to come?
Yeah, definitely more to come. I think can still get a little bit fitter. You know, last season it was a bit of a slow start with an injury and then being a little bit unfit.
Yeah. Ross on Twitter says as well, what went through your head when Baxter scored that own goal at Gateshead? What was you thinking?
I think it was more karma than revenge. You know, I just think, you know, it was a blatant foul the season before and it seemed like he got away with it, but obviously nice to get one back over on him.
Yeah, of course. So just the season as a whole, and how do you think it started for the club?
Yeah, I think the squad this year is definitely much better than it was last year. I don't think we did enough last year to get promoted, so hopefully this season we can get a good run going. I think it's there for the taking.
Yeah, Hardy, just quickly, just what are your thoughts on Town this season and Scott and the lads?
Been good. I think the performances have been good. I think the squad that they've got together, there's some decent strength in depth, and hopefully we can get out of the league, the Vanarama Conference as it is now, and get out of it and back into league football. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Do you think the media sort of looks at Town in different ways, and do you get a bit of stick when you're not performing well?
Yeah, I think last season there was a lot of negativity. I don't think it helped at all. You know, this season it started to look that way again. You know, with a slow start, but then obviously 2 great results, and everybody's back buzzing and on your side again. So I think
we said last week and the week before that those games could have easily been wins.
Yeah, definitely.
So, right, thanks Scott.
No worries.
Cheers Hardy for that. Looking at last week's results then, Grimsby lost 2-1 at Aldershot. A consolation goal from Scott Neilson was probably overshadowed by a red card from Linnell John Lewis. Scunthorpe got their first victory of the season with a 2-1 victory at home to Walsall. Paddy Madden and Hakeeb Adalukan on the score sheet. Hull City lost 2-1 at Aston Villa. Again, a consolation goal, this time Nikica Jelavic. Steve Bruce said the performance in the first half was the worst he can remember since he's been at the club. As always then, we look at another manager in trouble, and this week it's Jose Reid of Blackpool. The club sit at the bottom of the Championship without a win or a single point. So I'll just ask you, Scott, as well, just before we kick on with that. If that was Grimsby, what would Paul be feeling if you had zilch after 5 games?
I think a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're going into every game just dreading the loss. And I think when you're down there, I don't think it's a good place to be fair, for the team or the manager.
Yeah, is it almost a case of when you're in that position, you'd rather not lose than win sometimes? I mean, I don't know how you boys feel.
Yeah, well, I think when you are in that position, you'll take anything, really.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hardy, what do you think to Jose Reid at Blackpool? I mean, 5 games, 5 defeats, 3 goals scored, 9 conceded. It's not looking good, is it?
I think he's done well to get a squad together, to be honest. I mean, I think they were on about giving me and you a ring at the start of the season. Yeah, they haven't got a great squad. I don't think it's Championship standard at all. So I think we can expect them to go down this season probably. We'll have to see how they do. If they get any more players in on loan, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'll say that the squad was put together last minute, and we've commented before. Town squad. How do you feel about the squad? Is it ready now for promotion? I mean, sometimes fans have said it fails at the last minute when it comes to the big games. Would you agree, Scott?
Yeah, I think the definitely last 2 seasons that seems to have been the case. But I think this year, there's from the starting 11 to the 14, 15 who could easily come in and play week in, week out. Yeah. So I think that's what you need in a squad to make it.
Yeah, me and Hardy have said that as well. I mean, looking at the manager and the chairman's relationship at Blackpool as well, I think that's been documented. It's not the best relationship. So will that affect the squad as well, or should that not affect the squad?
It'll affect things. I mean, the players, I'm sure Scott could say, maybe from past experience, there might be, if there's issues between the chairman and manager, it's going to have an effect on the pitch as well, no matter what the players say. And if they've only just got a new squad together and they're not really that good enough for that league, they'll struggle to stay in the Championship, I think.
Well, I got a big stat for you here, boys. Riga's win rate before going to Blackpool was 43% at Charlton. It's now dropped to 31% at Blackpool. But can you argue with him? Because look at the squad he's got. You know, if he had more players at his disposal, could he get better performances and results?
I think he did okay with Charlton last year. I think they didn't have the strongest team. They were maybe looking at the drop last year, and I think Reid did okay. He got them playing some decent football, and they avoided the drop. So he did his job at Charlton. Now he's got his hands full at Blackpool.
That is true, Hardy. Right, thank you for that. On a lighter note then, myself and Hardy attempted the crossbar challenge this week. Let's see how I got on first.
This is the crossbar challenge at the Linden Homes Club.
And today's winner is who scores the best out of 5. And again, you can see how Hardy got on in part 2. It's got to be much better than me, surely.
That's why Blackpool never signed you.
Looking back at the transfer deadline, Hull City had one of the best days in recent years, with 4 top names signing for the club. So lads, what do we think? Mohamed Diame, Senegal captain, 20 appearances, 7 goals for West Ham. Scott, what do you think to Diame?
Yeah,
good signing for the club?
Yeah, great signing, yeah. I think they've made a few good signings. Can't see them struggling this year.
Yeah, that'll be all right. I think, Hardy, what do you think to Diame? Is he a bit of a lad, is he? Is he all right to have in your team?
I don't know. I don't get all the hype with Diame. I don't get what he's done. I don't know if it's just me, just being controversial. I don't understand what he's done, Diame, but he's obviously got something because he's gone to another Premier League club.
Ben Arthur, once rated at, what, 50 million, did you say, or something?
Yeah, I think when he was at Marseille, I think Marseille wanted Ronaldo plus 50 million or something for him, years and years back.
Well, this chap's now living across the pond. 2 goals in 13 appearances for France. What do you think to that, Scott? Ben Arthur, is he good for Hull?
Yeah, great signing, yeah. I think good quality. You know, he's going to do well for him.
Experienced,
yeah,
definitely. Gaston Ramirez and Hardy as well. He's gone to Hull. What do you think to that?
I rate Ramirez a lot. I watched him. I think it was in the Confederations Cup for Uruguay, and he was brilliant. But he's not settled in England. I think if he does, he'll be a great addition to Hull.
Do you think he can settle in Hull, the wonderful city of Hull? Do you think he can settle there?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what it's like.
Abel Hernandez as well. We've got another Uruguayan for the club. I think he's the record transfer fee, actually, 10 million for the lad. Is that justified, firstly? Scott?
I'm not too sure, really. If you look, what did Balotelli go for?
16 million.
Is he anywhere near?
Well, when you say that, no. I mean, the prices are all over, aren't they, really? But he's had 14 appearances for Uruguay, scored 7. That's a return of 1 in 2. Does that justify it?
Not too bad, we'll have to see.
Yeah,
He's playing against South American countries, but we'll have to see if maybe him and Hernandez and Ramirez will hit it off.
So overall, what do you think to Hull signing and this squad? You know, can you see him doing well, Scott, this season?
I think they're going to be pushing for a top half finish, which would be good for them, really.
You'd think with a manager of Steve Bruce's quality and the squad they've got, Hardy, you've got to say top 10's realistic, would you say?
You'd think so, with the players they've brought in as well. I think anyone that's saying they're going to be relegated, I can't see it myself.
Would you play for Hull one day, Scott, if you had the chance?
Definitely, yeah. Not as nice as Grimsby, obviously.
No. Well, you definitely play there. I think I'd take that as well. Right, so good squad for Hull then. They're going to do well in the Premier League, is that what we're thinking?
Good for Europa League as well.
Yes, although they're not in that now.
I nearly had you.
Yeah, it's that point. Obviously, the made these signings with thinking we're going to be in Europa and they're not. But again, it's going to be good for the Premier League. Right, Scunthorpe have recalled Andrew Boyce from his loan spell at Grimsby. Scott, what do you think about this? We were talking before the show, but what are your thoughts on Boyce?
A bit of a blow for ourselves, really. You know, the start of the season and up to now he's been a class act, really. So it was always there, but we thought he was 5th choice at Scunthorpe, and then a few weeks and he's been recalled back. Yeah.
Hardy, what are your thoughts on Boyce at Town?
Yeah, it's a shame. From what I've seen of him this season in a couple of games, he's been really good. He's looked really composed, strong at the back. Disappointing to see him go, definitely. Yeah,
was he a big character in the dressing room? Was he one of them lads, or was he just sort of professional, stayed focused and quiet and on the pitch did his talking?
No, he was lad in the dressing room. Good good lad to have.
Do you have any rituals before a game? You know, what do you lads do?
No, not really. We just have a bit of music on and that's it, you know.
Is that the kind of thing? Yeah. What kind of music do you have on?
R&B.
R&B.
Bit of house music.
What have been your highlights then of Boise at the club? You know, what are your biggest memories of Boise?
Probably a night out with him in Leeds. A bit of dancing.
On the pitch?
On the pitch. I think for me it must have been his first game, Bristol Rovers. I thought he was man of the match there.
Yeah.
He was solid all over.
I mean, you've got lads that can come in, haven't you, and replace him, but you're never going to be a Boise.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And it's the same as a team spirit. You know, I think when you have a good bond, you just want it to stick, and, you know, lone players coming in and out's not always the way forward.
It might be premature, but what have been your highlights of the short season so far?
I think just getting a team spirit and a squad together, I think. Obviously the goals are nice, and, you know, we had a bit of a slow start, but I think it's looking much more positive than it was. Now
my researcher told me that Grimsby have actually got the biggest away win and the biggest home win throughout the professional leagues. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know it. No.
You do now. Hardy, you know, what do you think to do Boise leaving and just as a whole? Is it going to be a blow, or can they carry on?
There's players that can fill in, but like Scott said, he's a big player, a big one to miss, and if he has an effect in the dressing room as well, it's, you know, you're always losing that side of the game as well.
Just can't replace those players, can you?
No.
Right, here's this week's half-time teaser before we go to a break. Which player's career included spells at Grimsby, Scunthorpe, Hull and Lincoln? Welcome back to the show. Before the interval, I asked you which player's career included spells at Grimsby, Scunthorpe, Hull and Lincoln. And the answer was Jamie Forrester. Hardy knew that. Let's look at this weekend's games involving local sides then. Scunthorpe travelled to Bristol City. The last time they played was in 2011 and Bristol beat them 2-0. They're currently top of League One. Played 5, won 3, drawn 2, unbeaten. Scunthorpe not having the best start. So Hardy, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that game for Scunthorpe? Tough, surely.
Going to be tough, but you never know. Start of the season, anything can happen. They might get a result there, and obviously if they do, it might sort of propel their season. Bristol City doing really well.
They've got Boise back. He might, shore up that defence. And they've played well in the cup games, I think. They had a good game against Blackburn, didn't they?
Did well against Blackburn. Yeah. Apparently they did well against Reading as well, and just narrowly were defeated 1-0.
Yeah. So Bristol City are third in League One, so it will be tough for Scunthorpe. And Scott, Grimsby, you go into Welling at the weekend. Today. Today's game. So last time you played them, you may not know, it was 1-1.
Yeah,
last December.
We weren't on it really. I don't think. We went for a bit of a bad patch last season.
Did you have a good game that day? Can you remember?
I don't think I was playing, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember a lot of the games you're playing? So someone says, the manager says to you, "Oh, do you remember that game a couple of years ago, Scott, when you did this and did that?" Do you remember?
Nah.
No.
Nah. Only a few. I think if you win, you can remember them. If you lose,
big wins.
Yeah.
Do you watch the highlights of the games?
Yeah, watch highlights. Yeah.
To learn from that, I suppose. Yeah. Just quickly, what's been your progression ladder to get to Grimsby, by the way? We know you've been in other leagues. Talk us through that.
The what? Sorry.
Your progression ladder to where you was before Town.
Before Town, I never played football for a little bit. I was just playing part time at Ware, which was in the Ryman too.
Yeah.
From there, I signed for Cambridge City. I was there for a season, and then I signed for Bradford City. And then from Bradford, I was there with Stuart McCall, and then Peter Taylor come in, and I was out. And then went down to Crawley, where I had my that was my best spell there, really.
Fantastic. Thank you, Scott, for that. In the first half, my crossbar challenge was absolutely appalling, so let's see if Hardy can do better than that and become the champion this week.
This is the crossbar challenge at the Linden Homes Club.
And today's winner is who scores the best out of 5. On Thursday, we went down to Grimsby Town's training ground then to hear what Paul Hurst had to say as he looks towards the game at Blundell Park against Welling. But before we do that, let's take a glance at some of the big stories that have been making the back pages. So this is the iSports. We've got Rooney saying he knows he'll have to make way for Falco. So, Hardy, what are your thoughts on that? Will he have to make way for Falco?
I don't know, to be honest. I think a lot of people are thinking it might be Mata that makes way from the team, which again seems pretty crazy. I think he's been one of United's best players so far at the start of the season.
He's been the creative midfielder, hasn't he, that they need?
Yeah, he has, yeah, and he scored a couple of goals. So, yeah, I mean, I can't see the sense in it. It's going to be hard to pick that United front line, really difficult.
What are your thoughts, Scott? Does he need to make way?
I'm not too sure, really. It's a weird one, really. I don't know how they're going to set out and play, so it'll be interesting to see.
If Grimsby signed another winger, would you feel under threat? How would you react?
I think, I suppose it's the profession, really, and it's part of the job. People are going to come in, and you've got to compete. And I suppose
you up your game, I suppose, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's
only a good thing.
It's all good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Back of the Sun Sport then, ruthless. Rooney, the New England captain, says he's going to be ruthless and harsh on his teammates. Scott, is that the right approach? How would you go about it?
I suppose there's got to be a bit of a borderline somewhere, but I think sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind, really.
I mean, you're looking at obviously the latest team. It is quite a young team. At that age, do the lads need to be criticised? Do they need to hear harsh words, or do they sort of need reassurance and confidence at that age?
Yeah, I think you need, it's a bit of both. You need to be told,
yeah.
But obviously then you need encouragement to come back from it.
Hardy, what are your thoughts? Rooney captain, going to be harsh?
I'd give Joe Hart the captaincy. I think he's just more of a level-headed sort of figure. I know Rooney's inspirational in terms of how he is as a player, but I think Joe Hart's got a better temperament. But
can a goalkeeper realistically tell the midfielders what he wants to do?
I think that's the difficult side, but we've seen some great leaders down there. Pete Schmeichel was a great captain. There's been others as well. So.
Right, and at the back of the Telegraph, Jamal Halbent on town reunion. Your old pal, briefly, Fifield, he wants to return against you today. What are your thoughts on Jamal?
I don't think he really got going when he came to Grimsby. He was injured and I think out of favour.
So can he return?
I'm sure he can return, yeah. Hopefully he gets back fit and it'd be nice to play up against him.
Yeah, I bet. Give him a few digs.
Yeah.
Hardy, what do you think to Jamal? Is he?
Yeah, like Scott said, his town career never really got off.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure he'll be hoping to play against his former side and see how he can do. He might have the unfortunate task of marking Scott as well, so we'll have to see how he gets on.
Fantastic. Right, let's take a look at what Paul Hurst had to say at the press conference.
Just as Wad think, we're definitely missing. Just have to check on Paul Bignett and Nathan Arnold ahead of the game. We've still got forward players, it's just more trying to find that right combination because there's not an obvious sort of target man there. We're missing that outlet that Lenny gives us in terms of his strength and aerial ability. But we are at home and I want to try and take the game to Welling as much as possible. But I don't envisage them coming to Blundell Park and being too expansive in their play. I think they'll try and keep it tight and try and work their way into the game. So we've got to perhaps come up with the ideas and moves to break them down. Look, they made a decent-ish start, albeit not got the victories that they would like. Jamie did an excellent job last year and we won't be taking Welling lightly.
So, Scott, Paul better than anyone really. What will he be saying to you before the game?
I think it's just going to be the matter of doing what we do best, really, and I think that's closing them down and being creative and positive on the ball.
Yeah, I mean, would you approach it differently if you hadn't had them big wins under your belt?
Maybe, but obviously now it's there to know that we can do it. So, I think he's going to be going in with the same frame of mind as Alfredton and get straight at him from the start.
Thank you, Scott. On Tuesday, it's a head-to-head battle on the pitch as Lincoln City host Grimsby Town at Sinclair Bank, which is likely to be a spicy affair with bragging rights at stake. So, Scott, what's it like to play in those kind of games? I'm guessing it's different to Welling.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think the last one was on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
We won 2-0. I think they had a man sent off, and then the one at our ground, I think there was 2 players sent off, so it's going to be a fiery one. But, they've started well as well, so hopefully we can go into it with a win today. And then get another win against Lincoln.
Hardy, the odds on a red card then against Lincoln?
Quite high. I think I saw the stats and there were quite a few red cards in the past few games. So if you're a betting man, that might be where your money goes on a red card.
Do you ever go into a game, Scott, thinking one of us is going to get sent off today? Like, Do you feel it, like the aggression in the team and thinking, you know, if we're not careful, we...
Not me personally. Yeah. I was worried about getting sent off again against Gateshead, just being unlucky and getting sent off again. But obviously, hopefully it didn't go that way, did it?
Yeah, Hardy, I'll ask you, because Scott might not be able to say. What's the result? What's the prediction for the Lincoln match?
3-1 Grimsby.
You're not just saying that because Scott's sat next to you?
No, I've got my Mariners head on.
Oh. No, I'm sure, obviously Grimsby are capable of that. We know, we've seen that. Thanks, chaps. England manager named Wayne Rooney as his captain to replace Steven Gerrard then. Has he been given it on merit, or is it due to lack of options in the squad? We touched on it briefly when we was looking at the back pages. Hardy, I'll start with you. You obviously want Joe Hart. You know, has Rooney got it then because he's Wayne Rooney, or is it because there's no other lads that are really capable of it?
Well, he clearly has an influence because he's got the same at United as well. He has that same sort of influence. So they obviously see something in him. There's some sort of leadership qualities. But I think after Rooney and Hart, there wasn't really anyone. I mean, there are people saying Cahill, but Cahill's not looked fantastic for England at all, I don't think. So after Rooney and Hart, there wasn't really anyone, to be honest.
Do you agree, Scott?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's not a lot of experience in the side at all, really. If you're taking away Rooney, Joe Hart, then there's no one really, is there?
I mean, Wilshere could possibly be the next England captain. So, you know, you might ask the question, do you give him it now while he's still young and he can sort of, you know, if you've got a captain there who's been doing it 10 years, when he's 30, he's going to be phenomenal, surely.
True, yeah. I mean, you do see some nations have young captains, but I think he's got to assert his place in the first team first because Jordan Henderson looks like he might be getting in ahead of him. Obviously, I know Gerrard and Lampard have retired, so there might be a space for Wilshere. I see Phil Jones as a future England captain, but he's got to sort himself out on the pitch for United first.
What's it like at Grimsby, Scott? How does Paul pick his captains? Does he look for certain characters, or is it just the most experienced?
I think he goes off experience and, you know, the characters in the dressing room. He's obviously been a manager of Sean Pearson for quite a while.
Yeah.
Why Diz has not been there, Sean's been there, he's very, very cool. So I don't think it's a bad choice. Or then there's Brownie, centre midfielder.
Yeah.
With a lot of experience.
Been impressed with Brownie, actually. What's he like in the dressing room?
Yeah, good lad.
Is he settling in well?
Yeah, he's settled in really well, yeah.
That's great. Just before we leave then, Scott, what's your aspirations for the season? What do you think realistically you can achieve?
I think we've got to go for straight up, really. You know, I think last season we didn't deserve to get promoted if you look at the way we played and the bad spells we had. And I think, you know, if we was comfortable in getting in the playoffs, there's no reason why we can't go up straight champions.
Well, thanks for coming in, Scott.
Cheers.
Cheers, Hardy. Right, that's it for this week then. Very soon we'll be heading to a club near you with FanCam. Don't forget to tune in to us next week for more of the same. Keep up to date with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter and email, of course, on the bench at estuary.tv. Thanks to Scott Neilson and Tom Hardy. For this week, it's goodbye.